Hello, everyone. This is Robin Young. I'm the publisher of Orthopedics This Week, and here are the top 10 orthopedic and spine stories for the week of February 27th, 2023. And starting in at number 10 is, of course, our power rankings, where we survey 26 of the largest public orthopedic and spine suppliers, which represents about 80% of all the products sold in this $25 billion industry. And we pick out the 10 top companies. So be sure to check out either our Power Rankings podcast or our website, RY Ortho, to read it yourself. So our number 9 story is kind of an interesting study out of the United Kingdom. Here, the National Institute for Health and Care Research checked with about 13,300 patients and measured how many of them got infections and what their caregivers did. And what they found out was if you want to lower the rates of infection, especially paraprosthetic infections, change your gloves frequently. The more often you change your surgical gloves, the more often you cut infection rates by, they found out, 12.5%. Every little bit helps. And the details are at ryortho.com. Our number 8 story this week is news out of Hammond, Indiana. It's about Southeastern Medical Center, based there in Hammond, who just settled allegations of Medicaid fraud that were brought against the group by the Indiana Attorney General's Medicaid Fraud Control Unit. The settlement was for $700,000, and it settles all possible allegations. You can read more about this at ryortho.com. Our next story is is really about a very interesting company out of Florida. It's an allograft firm called Axogen, based out of Alachua, Florida, which is just down the road from the University of Florida at Gainesville. They hired Jens Schroeder Kemp be their new chief marketing officer. I think he's the first one they've ever hired, as a matter of fact. But I think this will be a particularly good job for Kemp because the product Axogen has is a highly innovative nerve repair technology for surgeons. It's really interesting. Our next story is really very good news, comes out of Columbus, Ohio, where Include Health, which is innovating literally a new operating system for musculoskeletal care. Well, they just raised $11 million from 3 prestigious seed venture companies. Details, of course, are at ryortho.com. Our number 5 story is a study out of Detroit's Henry Ford Medical Center, which looked at the process of collecting outcome data from patients, better known as patient-reported outcome measures, or PROMs. These are absolutely essential for modern orthopedics. Remember the old phrase, garbage in, garbage out? Well, PROMs are the raw material for measuring hospital and surgeon performance. So if the patients do not fill them out or fill them out poorly, well, that's garbage in, garbage out. So this new study has tips on how you can improve PROM, patient-reported outcome compliance. Definitely check this out. Coming in at number 4 is the final chapter, which is titled 14 Years to Immortality of the Sophomore Danek Story. In just 14 years before 2000, between 1986 and 2000, in just 14 years, this company brought to spine surgeons the first comprehensive anterior and posterior spine surgery instrumentation and implant system, the first bone morphogenic protein, the first surgical navigation system, the first decisive mass tort litigation win. It also brought the evidence to the FDA that allowed them to down-classify pedicle screws, which the FDA did. It presented the winning argument at the U.S. Supreme Court that enshrines the right of all physicians to use their medical judgment to treat patients, even to the extent of using products off-label. Also the first allograft intervertebral body spacer. So these are the untold stories for the first time behind Infuse, Stealth Station, and a truly remarkable management team and company, which finally wound up selling to Medtronic for the first multi-billion-dollar transaction in the industry. It was for $3.7 billion back in 1999. Be sure to read this story. Our number 3 story this week is news that the Venerable Hospital for Special Surgery has a new president and CEO. That person is Brian Kelly. He is the first surgeon to be president of HSS since that institution was founded in the middle of the Civil War in 1863. Kelly takes over for Louis Shapiro, who very ably led this global center of orthopedic care since 2006. Be sure to read the details at ryortho.com. Our number 2 story is a truly inspiring, coordinated announcement from basically the entire U.S. medical community, specifically 119 medical societies. And folks, that's everyone in medicine. They made a forceful, articulate plea to reform the pre-authorization system. Every caregiver, every patient has been adversely affected by the system. 34% of patients have experienced a serious adverse event because of this pre-authorization system. 93% of all patients say it impedes their ability to deliver their best care. This system must be reformed now. Read the details at RY Ortho. And finally, our number 1 story, the news that Globus Medical, the most expensive spine, trauma, and large joint recon company on the planet, is buying the cheapest spine company trading in the public markets, NuVasive. Together, they become the second largest spine company in the world. But in reality, this is the most consequential strategic move this industry has seen since either J&J's purchase of Synthes or the merger of Danek and Sophomore. Whether you are a supporter or detractor of this impending transaction, everyone should realize that Globus, in one fell swoop, has become the most dynamic player in the entire musculoskeletal industry with a massive balance sheet. If Globus keeps moving in this strategic direction, and there's every reason to believe they will, they could challenge the old line suppliers, DePuy, Zimmer, Stryker, Synthes, for dominance within the next 5 to 10 years. Globus is playing tackle football while everyone else is playing soccer. Of course, much more about this and other stories at ryortho.com. And if you have any comments or suggestions, get a hold of me. It's Robin at ryortho.com. Thank you all very much. And everyone, I hope you all have a great week.